Here's the hard truth. If you're surrounded by toxic people, it's not entirely their doing. The responsibility lies with you for allowing them into your life. But don't worry. This isn't about blame. It's about reclaiming your power, and I'm here to guide you through it. Toxic individuals don't randomly appear in your life. They exploit the vulnerabilities in your boundaries, drawing energy from your emotional reactions. The real reason they manage to create chaos is that many people hesitate to confront a difficult truth. You can't change them, but you can learn to outmaneuver them. In this video, I'll unveil straightforward, no-nonsense strategies to deal with toxic people effectively. By the end, you'll come to a powerful realization. The peace you've been searching for has always been within your control. Step 1. Forgive, but never forget. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood concepts. Too often, it's seen as a sign of weakness, gullibility, or an invitation to let someone who hurt you back into your life. True forgiveness, however, is none of those things. It's not about dismissing their actions or pretending the pain didn't exist. It's about setting yourself free without losing sight of what you've learned. Resentment is a heavy burden, one that binds you to the very pain you wish to escape. I learned this truth the hard way. Years ago, I had a friend I trusted deeply. Let's call them Donald. We were close, or so I believed. One day, I opened up to Donald about something deeply personal, convinced they would keep it confidential. But within a week, I discovered they had not only shared my secret, but twisted it, painting me in a terrible light to others. The betrayal was devastating. I felt a sharp mix of anger and regret, not just directed at Donald, but at myself for placing my trust in them. That anger didn't fade. It lingered for months, even years. Every mention of Donald's name, every chance encounter, felt like salt poured into an open wound. What I didn't realize was how much that resentment was holding me back. I carried it with me like invisible baggage, weighing me down in ways I hadn't understood. Then one day, during a particularly dark period, I stumbled across a quote that stopped me in my tracks. Resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It struck me like a bolt of lightning. I had been clinging to my anger, hoping it would somehow hurt Donald or balance the scales. But in reality, it was only poisoning my peace of mind. That moment marked the beginning of a shift, a journey toward letting go. I came to a sobering realization. While Donald had moved on, living their life without a second thought, I was the one stuck in a relentless loop of anger and pain. My resentment wasn't hurting Donald. It was only hurting me. That's when I made a choice: to forgive. But this wasn't the type of forgiveness people often imagine. I didn't reach out to Donald to reconcile or offer them a chance to return to my inner circle. Instead, I forgave them quietly in the sanctuary of my own heart. I released the anger, not as a favor to Donald, but as a gift to myself. Yet, and this is crucial, I didn't forget. Donald's betrayal taught me one of the most valuable lessons about trust. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Forgiving allowed me to move forward without the bitterness that had weighed me down, but remembering the betrayal ensured I wouldn't repeat the same mistake. Many see forgiveness as a sign of weakness, but in truth, it's one of the greatest displays of strength. It takes courage to let go of resentment, to free yourself from its grasp, and to channel that energy into building a better, more peaceful life. Releasing anger, especially when it feels justified, requires a profound kind of bravery. It takes clarity to recognize that forgiveness is not about granting someone another opportunity to hurt you. It's about reclaiming your peace while setting firm boundaries. But forgetting? That's a different matter entirely. Forgetting risks inviting the same pain back into your life. Forgiveness is like allowing a wound to heal without continually picking at it. You let it close, but the scar remains, not as a mark of pain, but as a symbol of resilience and wisdom. It stands as a reminder of what you endured, and, more importantly, of the lessons it taught you. It doesn't define who you are, but it serves as a guide for the choices you make moving forward. The Stoics teach us the value of mastering our emotions, and forgiveness is a testament to that power. When you forgive, you take control of your story, refusing to let someone else's toxic behavior dictate your peace of mind. Yet, by choosing not to forget, you safeguard yourself from falling into the same patterns. Here's the takeaway. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, a deliberate act of liberation. Forgetting, however, is an act of neglect, a dismissal of the growth and wisdom that came from your struggles. Let your scars remind you of your strength, your growth, and your capacity to choose a better path. Step 2. Limit access to toxic people. Let go of the bitterness, but hold tight to the lesson. It's your armor, not a weight to carry. Use it to protect yourself, not to imprison your heart. One of the most important lessons: not everyone deserves unrestricted access to your life. Let me be blunt. Some people don't belong in the front row of your journey. It doesn't matter if they're family, childhood friends, or colleagues you see daily. If someone's toxic, emotionally draining, or constantly disrespecting your boundaries, it's time to limit their access. You might call it harsh, but prioritizing your peace isn't selfish. It's essential for your well-being. I know this because I've been there. I used to be a chronic people pleaser. If someone needed my time, energy, or attention, I'd give it freely, no questions asked. I'd spend hours on the phone with a friend who only wanted to vent about their problems, even though I was silently drowning in my own. I bent over backward for people who wouldn't lift a finger for me in return. Does that sound familiar? The wake-up call came after yet another exhausting conversation with someone who treated me like their unpaid therapist. I realized I was pouring all my energy into others while neglecting my own needs. That moment was a turning point. It taught me the value of setting boundaries and being selective with my time. Protecting your energy is not cruelty, it's self-respect. I ended the call feeling utterly drained and asked myself, why am I allowing this? What do I actually gain from this connection? That's when it became clear. Not everyone is entitled to unlimited access to your time and energy. Here's a truth that might make some uncomfortable. Setting limits doesn't always mean severing ties completely. Often, it's about implementing boundaries so subtle that the other person doesn't even realize they're there. Take, for instance, that friend who constantly unloads their problems on you. Instead of diving into their negativity, try a simple shift in response. That's challenging. What's your plan to address it? You'll notice how quickly their interest fades when you're no longer an outlet for endless venting. Or think about a relative who habitually criticizes your decisions. There's no need to argue or defend yourself. A calm nod, a polite smile, and keeping your plans private can make their judgments powerless. Without access to the full picture, their opinions lose their sting. I once had a colleague who thrived on spreading gossip and stirring up drama. Whenever they tried to engage me with stories about others, I'd respond with something like, "I'm not really interested in workplace rumors." Before long, they stopped approaching me entirely. Establishing boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about prioritizing your well-being. By doing so, you take control of who has influence in your life, and, more importantly, who doesn't. And then I walked away. Sure, it felt uncomfortable at first, but guess what? They stopped trying to pull me into their drama. That's the power of limiting access. It's about understanding that not everyone earns the privilege of being deeply involved in your emotional and mental space. It's about creating tiers in your relationships, an inner circle for those who inspire and uplift you, and an outer boundary for those who drain your energy. Some might label you as cold or distant for doing this, but ask yourself, would you rather be liked by everyone or respected by the people who truly matter? Here's a lighter way to look at it. Think of your life as an exclusive VIP club, and you're the bouncer. Not everyone gets on the list. The chronic complainers, maybe they make it to general admission, if that. The drama seekers, they can stay out in the parking lot. But those who genuinely value and respect you, they're in the VIP lounge with you, enjoying the best the club has to offer. Limiting access isn't about being unkind, it's about being intentional. Your time and energy are finite resources, and wasting them on people who don't appreciate them isn't just unwise. It's unfair to yourself. Here's the reality. When you start respecting your own value, the right people will naturally gravitate toward you. And, as for the wrong ones, they'll either step up and meet your standards or walk away on their own. Either way, you win. Step 3. Use humor to disarm toxic people. You can use humor as a shield. Sometimes the most effective way to deal with a toxic person is by refusing to take them too seriously. Toxic individuals thrive on tension. They crave drama, conflict, and heated exchanges. But what happens when you deny them that satisfaction? Instead of getting drawn into their web, you deflect with a joke, a smile, or a playful comment that takes the wind out of their sails. It's like letting the air out of a balloon. Suddenly, their dramatic performance falls flat. I remember dealing with a particularly critical coworker who seemed to find fault with everyone and everything. Nothing ever met their impossibly high standards, whether it was the quality of work, someone's outfit, or even the way they drank their coffee. One day, this person decided to make me the target, commenting loudly about my messy desk in front of a group of colleagues. "Wow, your desk looks like a tornado blew through it. How do you even manage to find anything in that chaos?" They sneered, clearly expecting a reaction. Instead of feeling offended or rushing to defend myself, I smiled and replied, "You're absolutely right. This is my version of creative chaos." Albert Einstein's desk was messier than mine, so I must be heading toward genius. The group burst into laughter, and their attempt to humiliate me completely backfired. From that moment on, they never commented on my desk again. Humor is a powerful tool when dealing with toxic people, and here's why. It strips their words of power. By laughing off their insults or snide remarks, you show that their attempts to hurt or embarrass you are ineffective. It shifts the energy of the interaction. Toxic individuals thrive on negativity and conflict, but humor introduces a lightness and unpredictability that can leave them flustered. Most importantly, it puts you in control. Staying calm and witty demonstrates that you're unshakable, which can be far more frustrating for them than any argument could be. But here's the trick. Your humor must be clever and playful, never sharp or cruel. The goal isn't to attack, but to diffuse. When done right, humor can be your greatest weapon, turning a potentially tense situation into one where you walk away with your dignity intact and their toxicity neutralized. If your humor comes off as sarcastic or cutting, it risks escalating the situation rather than diffusing it. The key is to make their negativity seem absurd without lowering yourself to their level. For example, if someone constantly interrupts you during a meeting, you might smile and say, "Wow, I didn't realize we were doing tag team speaking today. But it's my turn now, thanks." It's a firm yet playful way to address the behavior without creating unnecessary friction. Humor is also effective against guilt tripping. Suppose someone says, "Oh, I guess you're too busy to care about me anymore." You could respond with a grin. "You caught me. I've been auditioning for the role of worst friend ever, and it sounds like I'm crushing it." This light-hearted reply takes the wind out of their manipulative sails, keeping the tone casual while signaling that their tactic won't work. Using humor doesn't mean you're ignoring the seriousness of their behavior. It's a strategic choice to stay above the negativity and avoid being pulled into their emotional traps. It's a subtle yet powerful way of asserting your strength, showing that their attempts to belittle or control you are ineffective. And remember, while humor is a valuable tool, it's equally important to recognize when the situation calls for more than just a witty comeback, and when it's time to simply walk away. If your humor comes off as sarcastic or unkind, it might worsen the situation. The aim is to highlight their negativity in a humorous way without lowering yourself to their standards. For example, if someone keeps cutting you off in a meeting, you might say with a grin, "I didn't know we were doing a tag team on speaking today. Your turn is up, now it's mine." This approach is assertive yet amusing, effectively conveying your message without unnecessary tension. Humor can also be effective when dealing with manipulative individuals. If someone remarks, "I guess you're too busy to care about me lately," you could reply, "You caught me. I've been trying out for the part of a bad friend, and it seems I'm doing great." This response undermines their guilt trip while keeping the mood light. Using humor doesn't mean you ignore the seriousness of their toxic behavior. It shows that you won't let them pull you into their negativity. It's a subtle way to assert your strength and demonstrate that their attempts to control or belittle you won't affect you. Step 4. Walking away from toxic relationships. Leaving a toxic person can be one of the toughest yet most freeing choices you will ever make. It goes beyond just escaping a negative environment. It's about taking back your peace, time, and energy. The reality is, this decision isn't always dramatic or immediate. Often, it's about consistently prioritizing your well-being over their turmoil. Toxic individuals are skilled at persuading you to remain. They might apologize, promise to change, or manipulate you with statements like, "If you leave, you're abandoning me." It's natural to question whether stepping away makes you the villain. However, the truth is that remaining in a draining relationship, be it a friendship, romantic involvement, or family connection, isn't an act of bravery. It's harmful to yourself. I once had a close friend who was the life of the party, but a nightmare behind closed doors. Every discussion revolved around their issues, their desires, and their drama. Whenever I tried to share my own challenges, they would either brush it off or turn it into a competition, saying things like, "You had a tough day? Let me share mine." Initially, I made excuses for their behavior, thinking they were just going through a lot and didn't mean any harm. However, as months turned into years, I came to realize that I was investing everything into this relationship while receiving nothing in return. The turning point occurred during a crisis in my life when I reached out for support. Their reply was, "That sounds tough, but I'm dealing with my own issues right now." That moment made me understand that their toxicity stemmed not from malice, but from a lack of care. I ultimately chose to walk away, and although it was painful, it also felt like a huge burden had been lifted from me. Walking away doesn't necessarily mean severing all ties. It can involve limiting interactions, not answering every call, or delaying responses to texts, allowing them to become less prominent in your life. Establishing boundaries, such as stating that you're not available to discuss certain topics or that you can no longer assist them, is a respectful way to create distance and emotionally detach. Even if you occasionally see or talk to them, it's important to stop allowing their opinions or actions to influence you. The challenging aspect: sometimes stepping back means distancing yourself from people society expects you to remain close to, like family. The notion that you must tolerate toxic relatives simply because they are family is outdated and harmful. Blood relations do not grant anyone the right to abuse, manipulate, or drain your energy. Choosing to walk away doesn't indicate hatred. It signifies a commitment to your own well-being. The underlying truth is that walking away stems from love. Love for yourself, your health, and the life you aspire to lead. It's a declaration that you deserve relationships that elevate you rather than diminish you. When you take that step back, you'll discover something profound. You're not just leaving them behind. You're moving towards a more vibrant and fulfilled version of yourself. Walking away is not a sign of failure or surrender. It's a triumph in acknowledging your self-worth. Toxic individuals often make you feel excessive, inadequate, or at fault. However, once you distance yourself, clarity emerges. It was never about you. It was always about them. The most rewarding aspect: walking away opens the door to surround yourself with those who recognize your worth and treat you with the respect you deserve. Step 5. Surround yourself with positive influences. Interacting with toxic individuals can be like trying to swim with heavy weights attached to your legs. Their negativity, manipulation, and drama can pull you down. The solution is to connect with those who elevate you. Positive people not only bring joy, but also remind you of your value, support your development, and help keep negative energy away. It's a simple fact. Your surroundings influence you. If you spend a lot of time with toxic individuals, you'll likely adopt some of their behaviors and mindsets. Conversely, when you are with people who truly wish you well, something wonderful occurs. You begin to recognize your own potential. Consider this. Have you ever had a friend who makes you feel lighter after being with them? Someone who listens without judgment, celebrates your achievements without envy, and challenges you in a way that feels uplifting rather than belittling. Those are the kind of positive influences you should seek. I went through a phase in my life where I found myself trapped in a series of toxic relationships. Then, I met a new coworker who was incredibly positive and genuine. They would often say things like, "You're really talented at this, why not take charge?" Or, "You managed that situation excellently." Their sincere encouragement took me by surprise. Gradually, I came to realize that I had become so accustomed to insincere compliments and subtle criticisms from toxic individuals that I had forgotten what true support felt like. Spending more time with them and similar individuals revealed what I had been missing. They didn't compete with me, undermine my efforts, or manipulate situations. Instead, they motivated me to have faith in myself and to raise my standards for the relationships I allowed in my life. Here's how to surround yourself with positive influences. Identify your circle. Seek out those who inspire, uplift, and energize you. These could be longtime friends, mentors, or even new connections. Focus on building meaningful relationships. Instead of spreading yourself thin with numerous shallow relationships, concentrate on nurturing deeper connections with a select few positive individuals. Share positivity in return. Remember, relationships require mutual effort. Be the uplifting presence you seek in your life. Actively listen, support, and genuinely celebrate others. Here's the tough part. This may involve distancing yourself from those who don't contribute positively to your life, even if they've been around for a long time. While loyalty is admirable, it shouldn't come at the cost of your mental well-being when someone consistently drains your energy. The key takeaway is this: uplifting individuals do more than just make you feel good. They remind you that life is best experienced with those who recognize your potential. They encourage your growth by believing in you and creating a supportive environment. The truth is, toxic individuals may try to persuade you that everyone is as selfish or bitter as they are. But uplifting people reveal a different reality. They show you that kindness, respect, and authentic connections are still possible. Once you experience this, you'll question why you ever accepted anything less. Step 6. Do not participate in their manipulations. Toxic individuals thrive on disorder. They act like emotional puppeteers, manipulating and provoking you for control. Their tactics can be subtle, such as guilt-tripping you into unwanted actions, or overt, like creating drama to draw attention to themselves. The only way to succeed is to stop playing. Completely refuse to engage in their games. Toxic people are skilled at provoking you. They will say things meant to irritate you, or create scenarios that pressure you to react. When you take the bait, you've already lost. You're now in their domain, following their rules. By choosing not to engage, you strip them of their influence and leave them tangled in their own mess. I recall a particularly difficult family member who thrived on creating conflict during family events. They would make passive-aggressive comments like, "It must be nice to have so much free time. Some of us actually work hard." Initially, I would attempt to justify myself or defend my decisions, but that only escalated the situation. They would distort my words, intensify the conflict, and somehow turn me into the villain. One day, I resolved to stop participating in their game. When they made another cutting remark, I simply smiled and said, "You're entitled to your opinion," then shifted the conversation. They tried again, but I remained composed and disengaged. The frustration on their face was evident. They weren't achieving the response they desired. Eventually, they ceased targeting me because I wouldn't provide them with the drama they sought. Not engaging isn't a sign of passivity. It's a strategic choice. Here's how to develop this skill. Identify the bait. Observe the patterns, what triggers you, and how they attempt to provoke you. Once you recognize their strategies, you can prepare to react differently. Maintain your composure. Toxic individuals thrive on emotional reactions. Stay calm and don't allow their behavior to affect your mood. Respond sparingly or not at all. Sometimes silence is your strongest tool. At other times, a neutral response like, "That's interesting," or "I see," can effectively diffuse the situation. Establish boundaries. Clearly communicate that you won't tolerate their behavior. For instance, say, "I'm not going to argue about this," or "Let's discuss this when you're ready for a constructive conversation." The contentious aspect. Choosing not to engage doesn't equate to being submissive. It signifies a decision to avoid conflicts that drain your energy. Toxic individuals might label you as aloof, indifferent, or even timid, but that's merely their tactic to draw you back into their drama. Keep in mind that their views do not define your worth. The underlying message here revolves around control. Your control. By opting out of the conflict, you affirm that you are not obligated to expend your energy on anyone, particularly those who thrive on negativity. You are establishing the framework for your interactions, rather than allowing others to impose their terms. Life is too brief to get entangled in futile disputes or toxic games. By stepping back and choosing not to engage, you are not fleeing, you are elevating yourself. In doing so, you prioritize peace over turmoil, clarity over confusion, and strength over manipulation. That is a victory worth pursuing every time. Step 7. Keep your focus on your goals. Toxic individuals aim to distract you. They thrive on chaos, dragging you into their drama or trivial issues. It seems like their goal is to make their problems yours. However, when you concentrate on your purpose, your objectives, your principles, and the life you are creating, their distractions begin to diminish. Maintaining focus on your purpose is not just a protective measure, it's a strategic advantage. Toxic people want to cloud your vision. They will belittle your aspirations, minimize your successes, or seek your attention at the most inconvenient moments. Why? Because a person with clear focus poses a threat to their influence. If you are busy growing, succeeding, or pursuing your dreams, you won't have the time or energy for their drama. I once had a colleague who epitomized toxicity. They would talk behind everyone's back, stir up pointless drama, and always attempt to involve others in their chaos. Initially, I found myself entangled in it. I spent countless hours listening to their grievances or defending myself against their trivial insults. Eventually, I came to a realization. Every moment I dedicated to their nonsense was a moment taken away from my work, my aspirations, and my peace. So, I made a choice. I would concentrate on what was truly important to me and let their turmoil unfold without my involvement. I began to establish clear boundaries. I'm currently very busy. I can't engage in this. I steered clear of unnecessary discussions and directed my energy toward excelling in my responsibilities. The more I maintained my focus, the less influence they had over me. The best part was that my determination encouraged others to follow suit, leaving them with fewer individuals to manipulate. Here's how you can maintain your focus on your goals, even in a toxic environment. Define your objectives clearly. Document your aspirations, and keep in mind why they are important. By maintaining your focus on your purpose, distractions will appear less impactful. Build a mental barrier. Treat negative individuals as mere background noise. Acknowledge them if necessary, but don't allow their negativity to disrupt your concentration. Firmly say no when needed. If their requests conflict with your goals, feel free to refuse. Your time is precious, so use it wisely. Identify what drives you. Surround yourself with supportive people, inspiring books, or habits that reinforce your purpose and boost your resolve. The challenging aspect is that staying committed to your purpose may require you to prioritize your needs over relationships that don't benefit you, even if those are with close friends or family. Some may label you as selfish, but the reality is different. Prioritizing your purpose is not an act of selfishness. It is crucial. You cannot give to others if you are depleted, and you won't reach your goals if you are weighed down by someone else's negativity. The key takeaway is that staying focused on your purpose goes beyond just avoiding toxic individuals. It is about respecting yourself. It signifies that your time, energy, and dreams are too precious to squander on someone else's issues. Toxic individuals may attempt to divert your attention, but your purpose serves as your foundation. When you have clarity about your objectives, their negativity loses its power over you. As you chase your ambitions, something remarkable occurs. You create a life that is so rewarding and stable that their toxicity no longer matters. At that stage, you are not merely enduring their chaos, you are flourishing in spite of it, and that is the true victory. Step 8. Steer clear of gossiping about them. While it may seem satisfying to vent about toxic individuals, it ultimately does more harm than good. Engaging in gossip keeps their negativity present in your life, transforms you into what you're trying to avoid, and allows them to occupy your thoughts without permission. To effectively handle toxic people, resist the temptation to speak ill of them. The truth is, toxic individuals thrive on attention, even if it's negative. Gossip only fuels the drama they seek, making you an unwitting player in their game. Additionally, it establishes a harmful cycle where their actions begin to influence your behavior. Taking control means avoiding gossip. I learned this lesson the hard way. I once had a coworker who was extremely toxic, constantly creating conflict and bringing others down. A few of us would complain about them during lunch, sharing stories of their latest behavior. Initially, it felt like bonding, but eventually, I noticed something troubling. Each discussion about them left me feeling exhausted and resentful. Even worse, they somehow caught wind of our conversations and twisted the narrative to portray themselves as the victim. From that point on, I made a conscious choice to stop participating in gossip. I shifted my focus to professionalism and addressed issues directly when needed. It wasn't always simple. There were moments when I wanted to vent, but I recognized a positive change. By stepping away from the gossip, I regained my energy and integrity. Here's how to avoid gossiping about toxic individuals while keeping your sanity. Vent in a constructive way. If you're feeling frustrated, talk it out with someone you trust, like a mentor or therapist who won't escalate the situation. Stick to the facts and avoid insults. Shift the conversation when others start gossiping about the toxic individual. Guide it toward more positive subjects. For instance, let's discuss how we can better manage this situation. Concentrate on finding solutions. Rather than fixating on their actions, invest your energy in ways to maintain your peace and progress. Show empathy. You don't need to justify their behavior, but understanding that toxic individuals often act from their own struggles can help you resist the urge to gossip. The tricky part is that steering clear of gossip might leave you feeling alone in a culture that often encourages it. Others may even label you as overly nice or passive. Here's the reality. Steering clear of gossip isn't merely a matter of being kind. It's a matter of being wise. Engaging in gossip ties you to the very negativity you wish to avoid. Letting it go liberates you. The underlying message is clear. By choosing not to gossip, you are actively breaking the cycle of negativity. You show yourself and others that you refuse to be dragged down by someone else's poor behavior. Toxic individuals thrive on disorder, and gossip is just another manifestation of that. By distancing yourself from the noise, you deny them the attention they crave and safeguard your own tranquility. In doing so, you exemplify a powerful form of self-respect, demonstrating your ability to rise above, even when it's tempting to engage. Managing toxic people isn't about changing them. It's about safeguarding your own well-being. You cannot dictate how others act, but you can control your reactions. The reality is that toxic individuals will always be around. However, by learning to set boundaries, maintaining your focus, and refusing to engage in their games, you diminish their influence over you. Keep in mind that your energy is valuable. You have aspirations to pursue, objectives to achieve, and a life to create. Don't allow anyone's negativity to divert you from your path. Stand firm, prioritize your peace, and continue progressing. If this video provided you with a new outlook, please comment below and share your own methods for handling toxic people. Also, remember to like and subscribe for more tips to help you lead a stronger, more meaningful life. You have the strength to do this. Now, go seize your power. See you in the next video.